I've been browsing the Steam Hack forums quite a bit recently, and I've stumbled on a thread where people were discussing about the decoders that you use in the criminal faction, and someone posted a deck list of a Ken Tenma Express deck that uses Oracle May, and basically the entire deck is composed of events. So I thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. I should try it out myself. That seems like a very solid economic engine, Oracle May, and it can be tutored with Hostage, which is an event. Your programs, one of each, can also be tutored by special order. So this lends itself to a very cogent deck that could be very powerful, in theory at least. So I attempted, but repacking it into Leela Patel because I like her ability a lot, and I think it fits very well with this kind of deck. My opening and mulligan hands are terrible. You want to see either an Oracle May or Hostage in your opening hand because you need Oracle May to fire off as many times as possible throughout the entire game. And my opening hands contain 0 economy and pretty much 0 card draw. So I'm going to have a rough start no matter what. So this is definitely not something I want to see at all, and I'm up against NBN, so you can expect flatline, whether through Scorched Earth or dedicated response team. Either way, that's very bad news for me because I don't run plus creep. The only solace is that I do have a copy of Divide AR Lab Access, so I'll be sure to keep an eye out for that. So, because I couldn't find my Oracle May in my opening hand, my first priority is to draw up as many cards as possible. And hopefully, I'll get my money in that way. So I attempt to play a Forge Activation Order on his R&D Ice, seeing that he did not play a Hedge Fund or Sweeps Week. Turns out it's just a pop-up window, so that's a waste of time for me. I continue drawing up, and I see a Ninja. That's pretty useless, and here I made the huge mistake of pitching my Inside Job. This is why you rather play in Ken Tenma than Leela Patel. With Ken Tenma, you can play Inside Job for 1 credit and get 1 free access, which could be the difference between getting an agenda, getting you closer to victory, and losing. I continue drawing into worse cards, none of which are economy, none of which are Oracle May. So yeah, this is not exactly the most representative game of this deck, but I think one very clear problem is consistency, because when you run 3 Hostages and 1 Oracle May, that's 4 copies of a card that you want to see in your opening hand of 5 cards in a 45 card deck. That can lead to a lot of trouble. Some games you see it after a mulligan, other games you don't see it at all. After the first few turns like this, you are in a lot of trouble. Especially here because I don't have economy either. So I basically cannot run at this point. I'm just hoping that I can find it soon enough, and that my ID ability slows him down from attempting to score the first Astro Script or Breaking News, which is why I rather play this in Leela than Ken Tenma, because Ken does not deter the corp from scoring agendas at all. With Leela, at least I can be sure that agendas will power up in HQ and maybe make an Inside Job or legwork run through it. So I do draw into my account siphon, and that is pretty much my only route to victory at this point. Having no other economic options, I really want this account siphon to fire off, and hopefully my Zoo Keymaster will get me there. Problem is, knowing that I'm playing against Making News, there's probably a Scorched Earth in there, so I need to clear the tags. If I account siphon into a Data Raven, I have to jack out. I cannot afford to take the tag, much less let the trace fire, because Data Raven with a power token is more or less a death sentence for someone without plus 3. So, here goes the account siphon. At the very least, I hope I can force him to res a Data Raven or a Toll Booth. That might enable some emergency shutdown plays thereafter. We'll see what happens. He reses a pop-up window. Of course, I'm committed at this point. So I go through. The second card is... what is it? It's a Draco. Ouch. Dear oh dear. Well, if it's any consolation, the Ninja in my hand wouldn't have helped me at all. I'll need way more credits to get past that Draco. So, I do take the tags, and I shake it with the Lawyer up. So lawyer up does come in pretty handy here. I pay 2 credits to shake the tag, and in doing so, I draw 3 cards at the cost of 1 extra click. And the 3 cards were very important. It's 2 express deliveries, which I desperately need to find my Oracle May. So this is the time. In the meantime, he draws up with Jackson Howard, so I know that things are just going to get from bad to worse for me. I can't even afford to run Jackson Howard at this point because the C double scotch will end my game. So I play Hostage into an Oracle May, and I hit the event, Maker's Eye. So yes, R&D is perfectly porous. If he does not ice up R&D, I might have an opening here. But until then, Account Siphon really is my only way into his to make a run at this point, because the credit differential between us is so huge. He has had time to play all the hedge funds and sweeps in the world, whereas I was struggling to even make ends meet because I wasn't drawing any money cards at all. That was a huge problem. And yeah, that's the big difference between playing Ken Tenma and playing Leela Patel. You lose out on quite a bit of money. Alright, the show gamble couldn't have come at a better time. Now this gives me some money to work around with. I then attempt to retrieve my Account Siphon. As I said, Account Siphon really is my only way through here. I know I cannot keep the tags, but I need to close the gap between my credit pool and his, because I'm only 1 C-source, 1 mid-seasons away from losing the entire game. And you don't want that to happen. So I express delivery, and that finds me my 2nd copy of Account Siphon. Thankfully, he doesn't defend against this. Bad news is, he has 1 Astro script scored. No worries, it's time to recover my economy. First click, Ninja. 2nd click, Account Siphon. Thankfully, he didn't see my Ninja, which means that Draco's on 0 strength. This allows me to break through Draco using Ninja very cheaply. 2 credits, and I'm through. Sadly, there's no lawyer up this time to protect me. Maybe I should include more lawyer ups in my deck, considering how reliant I am on Account Siphon. Well, but hindsight is 2020. And lawyer up is pretty dead in most other scenarios. So yeah, I'll just hit the Account Siphon, clear the tags, and that's my entire turn gone. He still has an overwhelming credit lead here. He can easily see Scotch me down, especially since I'm down to 3 cards, but he does not do so. So that tells me something. It tells me that he might be running Scotch Turf, but he doesn't have C-Source. So I attempt the 2nd Account Siphon. This should bring our credit pools much closer together and hopefully save my bacon. And with my last remaining click, after clearing the 2 tags, I decide to make a Maker's Eye run. Seeing Jackson Howard, Toe Booth, sweet. Very bad luck, no agendas there, and that is all she spoke. Yeah. So at this point, still not looking good for me, but at least I have Oracle May set up, and I've burned most of his credits and gained some myself. This should help me quite a bit. As long as he doesn't find the 3rd copy of Astro Script, I can still make this game work. And of course, here I force him to ice up HQ, which is always a good thing. Then I draw into a Maker's Eye, another Maker's Eye. Alright, so he drew 2 cards last turn, including the mandatory draw, which means there is 1. The last card, which is probably Sweet's Week, remaining on top. I attempt a Maker's Eye run right here. Hopefully I get agenda. Let's see, Sweet's Week, breaking news, I'll score that. And Melange. I do not trash the Melange because I have a plan right now. I'm going to run Archives, and I know he stashed a lot of agendas in there. I'll force him to reshuffle his R&D so I can get 1 more access. Really, at this point, it's now or never. I need to get those agendas, and I need them now. So he reshuffles, and of course I see nothing. And since I force him to reshuffle, I have to go through with my plan at this point, which is to access R&D 1 more time. The pop-up window is very annoying. It widens our credit differential once again, and I see an NAPD contract. I have to steal it. Yeah, at this point, the NAPD, well, it didn't really make a difference. And here he just plays a hedge fund, and he mid-seasons me, so I knew that the game was over at this point. I could only hope um, the snippets of chances, because he had so many chances to draw out with Jackson. I could only hope that he didn't find his mid-seasons or seesaws, but that wasn't the case, and of course I lost the game. This event-based criminal deck has a lot of weaknesses, I realize. In theory, this deck should be making heap loads of money, but the problem is you can only hit Oracle May once a turn. So for your other 3 clicks, they are pretty useless if you are not making runs with them. You can try to draw up cards, but if, say, you draw into an easy mark and then play an easy mark, it's spending 2 clicks for 3 credits, which is pretty stupid. Nowhere near enough to keep you rich in today's metagame, where Corpse can grow so rich as we saw in this game. He wasn't even playing near Earth Hub with Pet Campaign and Marked Accounts Economy. His combination of hedge funds and sweet weeks was more than enough to overwhelm me, despite playing 2 whole account siphons. That says a lot. So I'm going to give up the idea of this deck. I think it can still work, but I really do not appreciate its inconsistency. The only way to improve its consistency is to play more copies of Oracle May, which I only have 1 copy of. And naturally, including more Oracle Mays means more misses with using Oracle May herself, and having to scrim on influence, which I otherwise would use on Deja Vus and Maker's Eyes, both of which are essential cards for pressure and for backup plans. So yeah, I guess that's why you play it in Kentenma. Not only for the 1 credit per run event, but more importantly for the 2 extra influence, giving you much more wiggle room. Thanks for watching. Happy net running.